want to introduce, for anybody that doesn't know RABrazzale, this is Fran.
Hi.
And she's going to read something from her son's book, who will be speaking, and Robert will be talking about how to gain increased control over your body, mind, and life through proper breathing and concentration. So I'll turn it over to Fran, and then you'll hear Robert. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone, especially those that made this long journey with us. I thank you for all your prayers. This is a foreword of a book that will be published shortly by Robert, and it's by his surgeon that did the transplant. To say that liver transplantation is complex is the understatement of an age. The procedure is composed of as many phases as the people who are in need of the radical procedure for their ultimate survival. After 23 years of performing this arduous task, I continue to watch in amazement at the intestinal fortitude of any patient who suffer long and then submit themselves with blind faith to the wonderful but difficult and often nebulous road to recovery. Just when I thought I had seen every heroic act and encouragement against death, along came RABrazzale. Here's a man who had led his life searching for inner peace and strength. No doubt his earlier walks in life were preparing him for the fight of all fights. Robert's transplant was complicated in a way that demonstrates how things and will go drastically wrong will. Something that might be expected when one transfers a vital organ from one person to another. And as if that wasn't enough, then there's the little problem of making the immune system behave itself in order for the organ to serve its intended purpose of keeping the person alive and ultimately restoring health. I barely understood such nuances when I began my journey as a young, precocious child contemplating a career in medicine. My endless energy carried me to the emergency room many times, and these visits ultimately culminated in my desire to be a doctor. I spent a short time in Winchester, Massachusetts, in what's considered a better chance program, later attending Dartmouth as an undergraduate. I found my way back to New Jersey, where I obtained my medical degree and trained in general surgery at the University of Medicine and Dentistry in New Jersey. A fellowship in liver transplantation under the tutelage of Dr. Tarzi, a world-renowned pioneer in the transplant surgery field. The first to transplant a human liver. Well, RABrazzale, alias Bobby Brazilna, as he's referred to, tried, true to his nature of being a martial artist and getting to the heart and soul of the matter and paying attention to even the most minute detail, was not going to shrink to the challenge. What challenge? That would be a challenge of walking through the shadows of death and coming out smelling like a rose. Cheating death, shall we say, thriving after a tumultuous post-transplant course, has made him uniquely qualified to recount his history in the book called We Are in Victory. His unusual vantage point lets him journey through the liver transplant process and convey the voyage vividly. His warm sensitivity and playful humor make the harsh reality of the transplant process palatable for those who will make this journey and relevant for those forced to live through the process vicariously through their loved ones. Of course, he did not make the journey alone, thanks to his lovely and tremendously supportive wife, Jay, whose presence is sparkling eloquently through all of the chapters. Robert has returned to us. Together, they are helping to heal those who must travel the road that they have traveled. That being said, I believe you will find information surrounding transplantation and is rigorous from the patient's perspective. Not only will you find it useful, but you will enjoy its honesty and charm as well as its enlightening value. That's Dr. Wilson, transplant surgeon.
Yay!
She was great, wasn't she? And she got a laugh. First of all, of course, I'd like to thank my mom, who's a little shorter than I am. And I'd like to thank Pat Harris for inviting my wife, Jay, and I here today to speak with you. And thank you all for coming. I am RABrazzale, and as I said, I'd like to thank Pat. I am and my wife also, care coordinators at UMD&J Hospital in Newark for the liver transplant department. Shortly after my surgery, we decided to give our time, and we started the mentoring program there, just to have people around to answer questions, you know, the simple questions that the doctors and nurses don't have time to. I was also the youngest person to be promoted to master in our style of Kung Fu. It's a Taoist style, based on the philosophy of doing what's natural, nature's way. And I also have a black belt in Goshen Aikido and a second degree in Hambu, and I've studied many martial arts. As you said, I'm also the author of a book called Living From Within, The Art of Controlling Your Life, which I did right out of high school, became a cassette tape, remember those? And soon to be released, as Mom said, We Are in Victory, which is a guide for transplant patients and their family. Okay, I'm currently working, as I said, the support group at the hospital, and for over 40 years I've been teaching people to apply these principles of Eastern philosophy, sometimes called inner strength or Nui Gong in Chinese, to a great variety of interests: health, family, business, sports, etc. Okay, most people take breathing for granted. We do it involuntarily, but it's no different than anything else you put in your body in terms of, the amount or the rate that you consume, and it has varied effects depending on how you do it. We do have a great deal of control over our breath, more than you think, and the old saying is that the mind moves the body, but the breath is the glue that holds them together. We're going to begin today by talking about two breath patterns that are very common. One is, the first is called small orbit breathing, and the second is called reverse orbit breathing. In the old Chinese text, they were called small and reverse cosmic breathing. These terms come from the belief that all things in the universe are in a cycle. Like a rotation, maybe you've heard the concept of yin and yang. Within all hard things, there's an element of soft. Within all taking, there's giving, that concept. So both of these patterns are best performed in a comfortable position, such as seated, your legs folded, your hands on your knees. There's a concept called golden rings here. You've seen they sit like this, and with your legs folded on the ground. Sometimes this is referred to as sitting in an Indian position, which I'm not sure is politically correct anymore. But since, if you're like me, it's getting harder and harder to get up off the floor, and sometimes you just say, oh, maybe I'll just stay down here for a while. We'll just let that term go. You can also perform this, and we'll try it in a chair, hands on your knees, feet flat on the floor, or in a worst case scenario, if you're in bed, you just keep your legs together and your hands at your side. Now the reason for this, theoretically, is that they call your hands and your feet, or your arms and your legs, four gates, meaning when the energy